August the 15th, 1947, Independence Day for India. An era has ended, a new epoch begins. A subcontinent larger than the whole of Europe becomes two self-governing dominions within the British Commonwealth of Nations. After less than a century under the British Crown, India's most crucial hour has struck.
India may have attained independence in 1947 and adopted its constitution in 1950. However, the architecture of governance, law, public memory, and even national expression continued to reflect colonial priorities for decades thereafter. The deeper task of decolonization, freeing the Indian mind, state, and symbols from inherited subservience remain unfinished. That long pending process was consciously taken up after 2014 under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, not as a rupture but as a restoration. Let's dive into how the Modi government has gone about decolonizing both India and the Indian mind since 2014. At the level of governance, more than 1,500 obsolete British-era laws were repealed, including archaic provisions that criminalized poverty, controlled mobility, or served no purpose in a modern democracy. Self-attestation replaced affidavits, red beacon VIP culture was abolished, and colonial administrative relics such as the separate railway budget and outdated budget calendar were dismantled to reflect equality and efficiency. India's global voice changed tone and confidence when in 2014, the Prime Minister addressed the United Nations General Assembly in Hindi for the first time.
भारत के प्रधानमंत्री के रूप में मैं पहली बार आप सबको संबोधित करने का मेरे लिए अत्यंत सम्मान की बात है.
Asserting that global leadership need not come through a colonial linguistic filter. National ceremonies were Indianized through indigenous music and traditions, replacing practices inherited from the British Raj. Public spaces and geography were consciously reclaimed. Rajpath became Kartavya Path. Aurangzeb Road was renamed after Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Allahabad returned to Prayagraj, Faizabad to Ayodhya, and colonial island names such as Ross, Neil, and Havelock became Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Dweep, Shahid Dweep, and Swaraj Dweep. In 2024, Port Blair was renamed Sri Vijayapuram, and 21 islands were named after Paramveer Chakra awardees. The National War Memorial honored post-independence heroes of 1947, 1962, 1965, 1971, Kargil, and later conflicts. Soldiers previously absent from imperial memorials. In education, the National Education Policy enabled teaching in 22 Indian languages and mother tongues. While colonial criminal codes, the IPC, CRPC, and the IEA were replaced by the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and Bharatiya Sakshya Adhinyam. The Prime Minister's vision has consistently emphasized that a free nation must stand rooted in its own history while remaining open, plural, and forward-looking, confident enough to engage the world on equal terms rather than inherited deference. In this sense, decolonization since 2014 has not been about retreating into the past, but about walking into the future unburdened by colonial hesitation, allowing India to remember itself fully, govern in its own voice, and move ahead with quiet resolve, civilizational self-respect, and the assurance of a nation finally comfortable in its own skin. Jai Hind.